Godzilla x Kong, Guardians of Equestria. Written by Phantom Plus 1234. Chapter 7. Campaign of Destruction. The alarms continued to blare as everyone tried desperately to find a way out, but to no avail. "We're doomed, we're all gonna die," Rarity wailed. "Every pony, calm down," Twilight said. "How can we stay calm, Twilight?" asked Pinky. Oh, Twilight tried to come up with an excuse, but even she knew Pinky was right. There was no way to stay calm when they were about to go down with the facility. But just when their luck was about to run out, Alien's radio sparked on. "Trapper, you there?" asked Alien. "Yeah, I'm here. You alright down there, Deck?" asked Trapper. "No, not at all. We could really use your help right about now," Alien answered quickly. "Alright, hang tight. I'm coming down there," said Trapper. "Thank God this man doesn't ask questions," said Bernie. "Hold on, I'm gonna need you to stay on so I can guide you," said Alien. "No problem, Deck," replied Trapper. "Facility will self-destruct in T-minus 500 seconds. Oh, please hurry, Mr. Trapper," said Twilight. The group waited in anticipation as Alien gave Trapper directions to their location. All the while the countdown refused to slow down. "Alright, I'm out of the elevator," said Trapper. "It's the door at the end of the corridor," said Alien. "Facility will self-destruct in T-minus 300 seconds. Rarity whimpered. "Just hang on, Rarity, we'll be out of here soon," Twilight said, trying to reassure her friend. Thankfully it wasn't long until Trapper unlocked the door and opened it. "Hey, is everyone alright?" Trapper asked, poking his head in. "Oh, thanks, Celestia," Rarity exclaimed as she bolted out of the room. "Come on, we still have time, let's get out of here," said Alien. They wasted no time as they made a mad dash towards the elevator. Once the elevator's door opened, they quickly made a run for the exit and thankfully all managed to escape just in time. "Finally freedom," Rarity exclaimed as she made it back into the main plaza. The others stopped to catch their breath as they made it out unharmed. "I thought we were dead," gasped Spike. Not a minute or two after everyone got out, there was a loud boom followed by a small shockwave that shook the entire city. "At least we didn't have to experience it up close," Capper said in reference to the underground explosion. "Is every pony okay?" asked Starlight. "Seems like it. Was Angerus?" asked Alien. "Well, the thing is," everyone looked at Fluttershy in confusion as she began to explain to them what was happening on the surface. "What, Angerus suddenly went berserk?" asked Twilight. "Yeah, old sucker just suddenly went crazy like something scared the big guy and took off with Red in pursuit," said Trapper. "Doctor, do you think that maybe?" Alien nodded her head. "That's the only explanation," she replied. "What do you mean?" asked Meadowbrook. Alien sighed as she began to explain what Tobias said in the terrifying new monster he had birthed. The Great Ape Slayer, hollered the members of Kong's tribe, all cowered in fear as Godzilla stepped onto their land. He was getting extremely close to the energy surge as he felt it grow stronger. As he looked around he could see the apes hiding behind rocks and boulders as they watched him cautiously. Godzilla roared as he looked at two of the apes and slowly began making his way towards them when something stepped in front, blocking his path. Godzilla was all too familiar with the icy cold air that surrounded the Titan. He angrily roared at Sheen while she attempted to defend the apes, but she simply responded by communicating to him in simple grunts and groans. Godzilla was clearly not happy that someone had the gall to oppose him like this, but he knew that the apes weren't his targets. His attention was quickly drawn to the sound of falling rocks and looked over to see Sku still hiding. Godzilla slowly approached the juvenile ape and glared at him as he whimpered. Sku, although afraid, pointed towards the tunnel where the vortex was still active. Godzilla looked up to where he was pointing and looked back down at Sku as he imitated Kong's behavior as if he was telling Godzilla that Kong had entered the vortex. Godzilla roared as he quickly rushed towards the vortex. "Handle it, Equestria Hypermechagatoria?" asked Trapper. "Isn't it like really bad that a giant killer robot is on the loose?" asked Trixie. "Which is why we need to track down Tobias and destroy that robot before things get out of hand," said Alien. "And how do we find him?" asked Rainbow Dash. "He did mention that he was planning on stealing magic from every creature in Equestria," added Twilight. Celestia, Luna, and Stars will all look at each other with concerned expressions. Their discussion was suddenly interrupted when Alien's phone began to vibrate. She pulled out her phone and began scrolling when she froze. What happened?" asked Bernie. "Two Titans have appeared," answered Alien. "Most likely as a result of Tobias's machine." "Where?" asked Sunburst. "It's near the Hollow Earth access point," she answered. "Hollow now?" asked Pinky. "It'll take too long to explain, but basically it's a massive bluish-white vortex that sometimes randomly appears in certain locations." "Bluish-white vortex, you mean the one in Hollow Shades?" asked Starlight. If that's the case, then that's where Tobias might be, said Applejack. We have to hurry. Let's go, girls, said Twilight. I'll accompany you as well, said Capper. Me too, announced Trixie. The rest of us should take the have, said Eileen. As the ponies prepared to depart and the Monarch task force piled into the have, Kong grabbed his axe and began making his way towards the hollow shades with the ponies following behind. Sister, we should go as well, suggested Luna. You're right, Luna, we may not have our magic, but we should at least be able to distract the enemy, agreed Celestia. We'll join you, added Star Swirl. The rest of the Peelers nodded as they followed after the others. Iwi tribe. Hollow Earth Methra was relaxing when she heard the horns echo throughout the area. She looks up as the gelatinous barrier protecting the Iwi tribe splits open as Scudda comes running in. Methra looks over as he runs up to her and pulls on her leg while pointing outside the Iwi's village almost as if he was wanting her to follow him. Methra moans as Scudda imitates Kong and Godzilla's behavior trying to communicate with the queen. Eventually Methra spreads her wings and takes off following after Scudda as he leads her to the hidden vortex deep within the great ape's lair. Hollow Shades. Equestria. The group finally manages to reach the hollow shades only to discover that the entire place was in ruins almost as if it was ravaged. Dense fog cloaked their surroundings, making it difficult for anyone to see anything. Well, we made it, but Applejack tried to study her surroundings but was unable to make anything out. Is it just me, or does this place look even worse than before? I don't like this, whimpered Fluttershy. Kong grips his axe as tries to pinpoint where the Titans were. Even Kong's having trouble seeing in this fog, said Eileen. But there's no mistaking it, there's something here. But what exactly? Asked Rarity. The group freezes as they hear a faint clicking and cracking noise. Oh, did you all hear that? Asked Applejack. They slowly huddled together as they cautiously tried to pinpoint the source of the noise in the fog. Does any pony know where the noise came from? Asked Trixie. I don't know, and that's what I don't like about our current situation, answered Twilight. As Kong scanned the area, he suddenly turned around and was tackled to the ground by something. The group yelped as Kong and the unidentified creature crashed to the ground. Kong managed to throw the creature off and got to his feet. As he picked up his axe, he turned towards the creature as it stood up, spreading its wings and growling at him. What in Celestia's name is that? Trixie yelped. The creature was soon joined by a second which was much larger and was missing wings. Both creatures were covered in a dense grayish-black hide and an elongated flat head. They both had red visor-like eyes that stared them down, and their hood-beak-like mouths opened, revealing many sharp dagger-like teeth. The only difference was the winged creature was slightly slimmer and smaller than the other, but both were equally hostile and ready to attack. Oh shit, cursed Eileen. Aren't those? Bernie stuttered as he stepped back. Mutos, answered Eileen. What now? Asked Spike. Massive unidentified terrestrial organism Akamutos, answered Eileen. The parasitic aliens that showed up to Earth many years ago, but Godzilla had defeated them back then. Well, then I suppose it's safe to assume that Tobias brought them back, yeah? Asked Trapper. Yes, more accurately Hypermecha Ghidorah, said Eileen. But don't they look slightly different? Asked Rainbow Dash. I believe the one is male and the other is female, answered Eileen. The male Muto growled as it lunged at Kong in attempts to body slam him, but Kong quickly reacted by landing a punch to its face, sending it crashing into the ground. The female Muto roared and charged at him, but Kong quickly grabbed his face and drove it into the ground before bringing his fists down onto its back. The male Muto retaliated by jumping onto his back and attempted to bite into his shoulder with its hood beak. As Kong attempted to throw the male Muto off, the female Muto got to its feet and ran into him. Hey, 2 against 1 isn't fair. Pinky yelled. This isn't good. Kong may be an alpha titan, but even he can't take on 2 opponents at once, said Eileen. They watched as Kong reached over and grabbed the male Muto before slamming it on top of the female. He then proceeded to throw the male Muto, sending it flying and crashing into the ground. As Kong roared, the female Muto grabbed onto him from behind and held him in place as the male Muto began to fly, hovering right above the vortex. This is bad, like really bad. Trixie said as she watched in anticipation. We need to do something before those things kills Kong, said Eileen. Yeah, but what can we do? Asked Bernie. They watched as Kong struggled to break free. Just when a male Muto prepared to attack, a giant pillar of pink energy suddenly erupted.